Okay, everybody, this is a quite impromptu setting here. You may not be able to tell right now, but I'm in a room full of brothers. And this is all by the Holy Spirit, this coming together. And I am decided to dub this a meeting of the minds. This was intended to be a Israel update. There is so much that has been going on recently, and you all need to know exactly what's happening in Israel. So I'm encouraging the brothers to feel free to speak on any level they want to, give updates in their areas. We're going to start off with Kohen Amoniel Ben Eliazer. He is going to give us some very, very pertinent information on the season that we're in, which is the season of the 4 blood moons, and other phenomena that is taking place that's coinciding with that. Now, I did a video, the last video I did on that. I'm not talking about the highlights of the conference. We talked about the Shemitah, the Jubilee, and all of those things. Here in Israel, we have been experiencing phenomena. Kohen, could you please give us some understanding on, from your perspective as a high priest, as a scribe of the Lord, what is taking place? We need to know and understand. We've been having this mysterious, looks like fog, doesn't feel like fog. Some call it a mist. Some call it smoke, pillars of fire. What is happening?
Right now, when we look at what's been transpiring for the last week or so, we must understand that we're going into the year of the spiritual jubilee. And that means we have acquired, you understand, 50 years since the vision of coming out of the lands of the great captivity back into the promised land of our ancient fathers. So that's happening all at the same time this Yom Kippur. Yom Kippur marks that 50th year since the vision. Our spiritual leader, Ben Eliazer, had a vision that it was time to take his people out of the lands of the captivity and return back into the promised land by way of Liberia. We were there for 2 years and then we came here. But when it all ended up, we have to go into the same time that the vision came. The vision came during just before the Tetrad, or the 4 blood moon seasons of 1967, 1968. Mm-hmm. At that particular time, what does the Tetrad mean? Or the 4 blood moons signify? It signifies redemption or destruction. It comes in a time of pilgrimage feast. It's a time when the children of Yah supposed to be making pilgrimage. 3 times a year, it was upon every male to make pilgrimage to a place that was set aside for where the Most High, where the priests were in a place that the Most High set aside for the sons to come and present themselves. And they could not come empty-handed. Now, we've been in captivity for 450 years. So, naturally so, we didn't start making pilgrimage until we entered back into the land. Now it was required that we make pilgrimage again to a place that is set aside for us to do, all males. But we're looking at a very, very crucial time. We're going into the Jubilee. And the Jubilee signifies that at this pilgrimage feast, anyone who considers themselves to be a Hebrew Ishmaelite, Hebrew Israelite, or if you say that you are a son or a daughter of Abraham and you're a Christian, you are a Hebrew. So you must, give kol, kavod, and credence to the God of the Hebrews. No other God can stand in that stead. So it's about Hebrew fundamentalism. This is our rights. Restoring Hebrew. First we got to repair, because all of our Hebrew culture, traditions, and customs was destroyed, and we went into captivity. And remnants of bits and portions of it was picked up by those that destroyed our culture. If they picked it up, and much to our surprise, we find ourselves in our return that for the last since we've been here, we've been practicing Jewish fundamentalism, 100%. Even until coming up to this day of the 7th month, you understand, of this year, since we started this year, the Jews are celebrating, by Jewish tradition, Rosh Hashanah, or the opening of the year, which we know that this is not the hour of the time that the God of the Hebrews allocated by Scripture for us to celebrate the head of the year or the beginning of months. It's clear cut that it's supposed to start in the month of Aviv. That's not even on the Jewish calendar whatsoever. That month is totally eradicated. All right, so where are we at? It's very, very crucial that we understand these appointed times. And the most important time that we must understand is the Sabbath. When does the Sabbath occur? It occurs once a week, the last day of a week. There are 7 days in a week. Now come. Is that not right?
Absolutely.
There are 7 days in every week. Can you have a week with 3 days?
That's not a week.
Can you have a week with 1 day?
It's not a week.
Then that brings about another question. Then how can you have more than 4 weeks in a month? Because each week is what? 7 days, and 4 times 7 is what? 28.
28 days.
Now it's not logical for you to have another week and start another week. You can't have nothing but 28 days in any month. That's according to Hebrew fundamentalism. Now I ain't talking about Jewish fundamental science. I'm talking about our culture that's been destroyed, and we cannot, as we begin to repair the situation, we must understand that the most important day of that week that we must deal with is the Sabbath day. And the Most High right now has a controversy with his people, us Hebrews, about keeping his Shabbat. He has a grave controversy with us. Why? Because the Ishmaelites, the Hebrew Ishmaelites, keep the Shabbat every Thursday, Friday. The Jews, who say that they are, you understand, the sons and daughters of Abraham, keep the Shabbat Friday, Saturday, every week.
Okay.
And the Christians, who say that they are the sons and daughters of Abraham, followers of the God of the Hebrews, keep it on every Sunday. Now somebody is wrong, or everybody is wrong. Or maybe we all are confused about the times. Okay, all right, so I want to go to the scripture. I want to go to Isaiah, the 66th chapter at the 23rd verse. And I want to make it clear what the Most High, what he wants, what he desires. You understand? What he wants his people to really do in this day when we looking to go into a jubilee, into what they call a new heaven now, a new beginning, a new earth. You understand? And can I get somebody to read that for me? 66 and 23. Isaiah 66 and 23. You got it? Read it, please.
Yeshayahu 66:23 reads as such. And it shall be that from new moon to new moon and from Shabbat to Shabbat all flesh shall come to worship before me, declares Yahweh.
Now he's talking about something that's very, very important about a new moon. When do you know when a new moon happens? It has to happen because it appears to be new, right? You can't call a new moon when there ain't no moon in the sky, can you?
No.
Well, the traditionalists of Jews, you understand, they call a new moon when there's nothing in the sky. They say it's a new moon.
Okay.
So technically, they start the month early because they don't have a sighting that they're supposed to be looking at. There's a sighting. It says that when the hidden moon emerges forth from out of darkness, the first light of a crescent moon is visible in the heavens. This is the first day of a Hebrew month, and it's called Rosh HaKodesh.
Okay. Head of the month.
It's called head of the month, the beginning of the first day of the month.
Of the month.
Now, that means that now you can begin the count of that month from the first day of the month.
Okay.
You cannot begin the count, and you know, because you stop counting the days on the last Shabbat. Okay, the last month, before you went into the conjunction, you ended the week. And then the moon went into a dark state. Well, that's called a conjunction. But the last day that you was observing for the last month was the 28th day of that month. That was the Shabbat. So that was the end of that month. Then you go into a conjunction. You don't count the days until you get to the first day. Then you start to count. So in between, when the moon is in its conjunction, you don't count days. It's a rejuvenation period. It's a period of dormancy. You wait on the sign of that first crescent moon to come. It's very important that you understand that, because Most High says that what? Read at 23 again, he says, and it shall come to pass that from one what?
New moon.
To one new moon to another, and from what?
A Shabbat to a Shabbat.
Yeah, and to one Shabbat to another, he says, then shall all flesh come to worship me. Now you know he's talking about the children of Abraham.
Okay.
Because unto the children of Abraham is a light to all nations. You understand what I'm saying? To all nations, they are a light to all nations. So if the children of Abraham got it wrong, then all nations got it wrong. And I'm saying right now, we all got it wrong. And I'm going to show you why the Most High has a controversy with his people. Go to Isaiah, the first chapter. Pick up at the, Isaiah, the first chapter. Pick up at, it's around the 12th verse. Isaiah 1 and 12. Yeah, I think it's there. Go there.
Yeshayahu 1 and 12 says, when you come to appear before me, who has required this from your hand to
See,
trample my
every
courtyard?
pilgrimage, when you come to appear before the Most High, who required of you to make pilgrimage, during the pilgrimage season of Pesach, Passover, Memorial, the Memorial of Unleavened Bread, Shavuot, which is the Feast of Weeks, and then Sukkot, which is the Feast of Tabernacles. These are the 3 times you're supposed to make pilgrimage and come before the Lord as he has required it of you. Okay? He's required this of you. And you can't come empty-handed. I got to put that in there. All right. Okay, now, read on.
Stop bringing futile offerings.
Stop bringing these futile blemished offerings. Do you understand? Stop doing that. Go ahead, read.
Incense, it is an abomination.
The incense is an abomination to me. I hate it. Now there's a whole lot of things that's an abomination to the Most High, but he hates the smell of incense, cause you're covering up the stench that's on you.
Woo!
You smell funky, and you're trying to cover it up. You're coming before the Lord with these blemished offerings. You don't even know when to keep his Shabbat, and he's got a controversy with you, especially the children of Israel, the Hebrew Israelites. He's really, because you're supposed to be the light to all of the other Hebrews. You're supposed to be the light to them. But you got it wrong because you're following Jewish fundamentalism practices. That's all you do. You haven't healed the breach yet. You don't want to heal the breach. And when those that he has anointed to come to you to tell you what to do, like myself, I got to put myself, because I've been saying these things for years to you all. And you don't say nothing, you just get quiet. And you don't argue, you just get quiet, and then you keep on following a Jewish tradition, just like a zombie. Now y'all just opened up the blowing of the trumpets on the Shabbat, the last Shabbat of the month. That was the last Shabbat of that month. Because I had kept it all that. We couldn't see the heavens here, because it was a mist over Zion.
Okay.
Now,
For 3 days.
For 3 days it was a mist. Then that mist turned into a dust storm. Now, one of the key things about a mist, we got to finish reading that. Yeah, okay. I'll get into the mist in a minute.
And Kohen, when you finish, don't forget about the rain. Talk about that too.
Okay. I forgot what I want to say. Go ahead.
The mist.
New moons, Shabbatot, the calling of gatherings, I am unable to bear unrighteousness and assembly.
He said, listen, your new moons, I'm unable to bear. I can't stand those your new moons. That means something is wrong with our new moon cycle, something that we ain't doing right. We're not paying no attention. We're dealing with Jewish traditions and customs. And we're not even questioning it. We won't acknowledge those that's been sent to us. I don't go up to charts and put them before you and for years and years. But you still do the same thing. Now, here we are into the great Shabbat. Go back to the Most High says he has a controversy because he said, go to Genesis, 2nd chapter of Genesis. We want to talk about this mist that came down upon us throughout Zion. It happened at a time when a new birthing process was going on, because we're going into a new year. We're going into a new jubilee, a new heaven, and a new earth. Now, this is what happened, and this is what I'm getting ready to read. You read Genesis, the 2nd chapter, start at, I think it's the 5th verse. Start there. I think it's the 5th verse. Pretty sure it is.
Now no shrub of the field was yet on the earth, and no plant of the field had yet sprung up, for Yahweh Elohim had not sent rain on the earth, and there was no man to till the ground.
Now there was no rain on the earth, and there was no plant life on the earth yet, because man had not been created.
No ground had been broken.
Nothing. So what happened? Go ahead, read.
But a mist went up.
But a mist went up. Okay, and
went up from the earth and watered the entire surface.
It watered everything. Go ahead, read.
And Yahweh Elohim formed the man of dust from the ground and breathed into his nostrils.
This is when he formed Adam. When that mist, then came Adam. Then came life into that flesh that might have been dead before. Doesn't mean that it means that Adam got the spirit of through the breath of life, Adam became knowledgeable of the Most High.
The first immaculate conception.
The first, he had the mind, a God mind that he was given.
And it's important for us to remember that this occurred out of a mist.
It's very, very important for you to understand that a mist brought that in. That gave water, purified knowledge.
Okay, that's what the mist represented.
That's what the mist represented. We didn't know what it was. When we looked up at the sun, looked like the moon.
Yes, it did.
It looked just like the moon.
Just like the moon.
All right, so now, all this happened on the third Shabbat of the 6th month. That mist came down. And it was with us for a whole week.
3 is completion. 3 and 6 and 9 equals 9, which is completion. A woman carries a baby for 9 months. Cycles of completion.
So we talking about now 3 days of the mist. Then we had 2 days of a dust storm. Start clearing up a little bit. On the 6th day, it was a clear, because I went out and I checked the heavens. You can see the stars, but it wasn't no moon in the heavens. So that means that on the 7th day, even though we had naturally went into the Shabbat, throughout the land they was dealing with, on the 7th day that I was dealing with a Shabbat, they was dealing with blowing up the trumpets. They was opening up, blowing up, or they was opening up Rosh Hashanah, which was the first day of what we the first day of the head of the year. They was opening that up, and it wasn't the moon in the sky. So that means they're coming up on the great Yom Kippur of the Jubilee. This means that we are not going to go into the appointed time of the Yom Kippur, right? Because the count is off. The count is off. We didn't already started counting, so we're going to go into on the 10th day according to the count that we started. The first day that we started the month, then we're going to count according to that. But that came 2 days later. The first day we seen the moon, crescent moon, 2 days later. So that count started 2 days later. This is how technically, how we always dwell in sin. Because this is little bitty knowledge, acknowledging these phases right here. You know, when the first Shabbat comes, there's always a half moon. Just like on this thing, it's always a half moon. The second Shabbat of the Hebrew month, it's always a full moon. It's always that. The third Shabbat is always another half moon waning. And then the last Shabbat that comes on the fourth Shabbat going out, it's always a crescent, or it might not even be, you might not even see it. It might be not visible to the eye. So, with that understood, explain the myth, then we're going to say, I was looking for a confirmation on the, to detect when was Rosh HaKodesh for the 7th month, because that's important. Because all of the days are counted from the first day. The 10th day of that 7th month is Yom Kippur. And then you're looking at the 14th day, on the 15th day, you're talking about the other Kagim that's going to fall during this month. And we're talking about the year of the Jubilee. It's very, very important that we understand that that first day is very, very important. If we got the first day wrong, we get all the other Kagim days wrong. And so far we got it wrong, because we dealt with it according to Jewish fundamentalism practices. What came out of whatever the Rabbinic Council said, that's what we did. And they went into Rosh Hashanah, and we did a blowing of the trumpets, all out of sequence. Okay, so what do we do now? So I was looking for a confirmation on when was the day going, but it was a bunch of clouds in the sky that night, the second night. So what I did was I still went out to observe. And what happened is what doesn't usually happen in our summer months here in Israel. We had a storm. And I mean, I seen it coming. It was a mist.
That's right.
It was a mist. It was lightning and thundering, and the heavens was. The Most High was showing His work. I was looking at it I was looking out on Egypt and Jordan, because I was on the crater looking at this. You know
Where?
on the crater.
Where?
In Mizpeh Ramon, one of the highest cities in Israel.
For sure.
And it's near what they call a mountain called Har Kakum, which archaeologists believe is Mount Sinai. So I live in the place where it's technically said to be Mount Sinai, where the law was given unto Moses.
Now, what be happening on that mountain? Tell us about that, Kohen. Can you tell us about it?
So much be happening on. What we have on that mountain that the Gentiles have put there is they put the planetarium there. The planetarium carries the best telescope equipment in the Middle East, not in Israel, in the Middle East. It's only a 3 or 4, about a mile away from my house. I know all of the workers. As a matter of fact, I've been into it private. I stay in the place.
So this is an entire observatory.
Right.
Up there.
Now, doing this, now they're the ones that taught me a lot of things about the phases of the moon and the different things, because I did in-depth study from what I get from the information there. When it's an earthquake, they register earthquake there. Anything that happens, they get all the information feedback right there.
Okay.
So when the Pope visited Mizpeh Ramon, May 25th, 2014, last year, May 25th, the Pope and his delegation at interfaith, this current Pope Francis, with a small f, he came up with an interfaith delegation dealing with theosophy, talking about a one world, you understand, religion, and they came to Mount Sinai to make sure that they got their blessing.
In your neighborhood?
My neighborhood, the nerve of them. I'm the captain of the guard up there. But, the Most High didn't let us down, because I was up, of course, you understand, at that time of night, about 4 o'clock in the morning. I didn't know the Pope was in the city.
He hadn't checked in? And
no, he hadn't checked in with me, you understand. He was supposed to check in with the priest now, but he didn't. So what happened was the Most High sent a sign. He caused the earthquake to happen. 4.1 on the Richter scale. Google it. Check it out. Google it. You'll find out this really happened.
It's true.
Yeah. And I went down. I ran out of my house because I thought it was time. It was over. I really thought, because the blood moons in there, I thought it was over. But it was just acknowledging the Pope's presence and his delegation in that city to somebody that needed to know he was there right then. I found out later, but see, you can't be asleep in this season. And we sleeping on the Shabbat issue. From Shabbat to Shabbat, new moon to new moon. Then all flesh will come and worship me. This is what Isaiah is also the ones that said, I require of you. I hate your Shabbat. Isaiah then told us, he said, we are for signs and wonders. You understand? In Israel. He didn't say in Philadelphia. Ghana.
Kenya.
He said, in Israel, we are for what? Signs and wonders. So, I mean, come on now. Let's stop the zombie effect. Because we're not listening to Zion. The word is coming forth out of Zion. If these are the latter days and the world is at its end, and we can see that everything is crumbling, the economic system, the political system. Ain't nobody telling the truth in the pulpits and stealing your money. We see what's going on, right? Or don't we? We are clear that we are in the latter days. If we are in the latter days, then it says in the last days, Yeshua said, it's going to be a Zion.
Yeshua, you said that?
I said it.
He sure said it. He said it's going to be a Zion. Somewhere, you can read it, the second chapter of Isaiah. He made it real clear that in the last days, people shall go up to the house of what? Jacob. To learn of his ways.
That ain't Ghana, is it?
No, Jacob is...
That ain't Kenya, is it?
No, it's...
That ain't South Africa?
In Israel. In the land of the promised land. We're going to be Zionists in Israel.